So here we are, after the weekend the Nationals all died down, here with Craig Ross, member of Community locals. He placed 95th, so he made it in Top Cut for top 128. What deck was you piloting, good sir?
Maliss at Mister.
Nice. What were your matchups?
So I had 5 or 6 Mitsu matchups. So I had Ryziel, I had Fiendsmith, I had Ogdodic, and I had Pure.
Ogdodic?
Yeah.
Okay, odd. Very odd.
Yeah, luckily I didn't see much of the Ogdodic. I think I saw him dump 2 monsters from it, and that's it.
Got pretty lucky then not to go Reptargo Boer.
Yeah. And then I had a Chimera, Azamina, Fiendsmith.
Random.
Yeah. Well, some of it works.
Yeah, it's true.
And then I had Blue Eyes and Mermail.
Okay, fair enough.
And 2 Regenesis matchups.
2 Regenesis. Wait, pure Regenesis or
no,
cash
1 Cash and 1 Nemlaria.
Nemlaria? Okay, that's different.
That is completely different, but as I found out as he was playing, all the Nemlaria main deck monsters are 25/25s.
Oh, right.
So literally 1 Nemlaria card gets you full access to special summoning every Regenesis monster.
I mean, yeah, I can see this energy. It's a bit random. I can see this energy, but it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Right, should we get into your deck profile, good sir?
Yes. We'll start with the main deck.
How many cards in main?
41.
41.
So it's 2 Dormouse, 2 Rabbit,
Yep.
3 Cat, and 2 March Hare. Now, for the main deck monsters, I know the discussion is whether it's 3 and 2 or 3 and 2 that way. I was quite happy to see it this way.
Yeah.
Because if I saw multiple of these, I could deal with them.
Yeah.
Whereas if I see multiple of these, they potentially are dead cards in hand. Yeah. There's only so much you can do with 2 cards that only add back. Whereas at least this way, if you saw 2 of these, you can still get a body to the field as long as they don't negate the normal summon. So I found that this was a better
lineup
ratio for the main deck ones. And then the spells and traps I had was the 2 field spell, the 1 mirror, 1 MTP, and 1 GWC. I didn't play TB11. Never needed it. Never felt like I needed it at all.
No. A lot of Maliss players are now cutting it because of now March P Hare, Maliss in the mirror. It just further extends on.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Hare with MTP on its own is enough because you can just banish that. You can normal summon the March Hare and then banish it with MTP, add it back to hand, and then special summon this off of MTP, or you can banish the Maliss monster that you summon to hand, you add to hand. So it's fine that way. And then the Atignistas, I played 3 backup, 1 wizard, and 1 AI meet you.
Yep.
I'm thinking about cutting this down to 2.
Yeah.
I never really felt like I needed all 3.
Yeah.
It was nice to see in the hand because when you hard draw it going first or when you hard draw it going first, you know that as long as you've got another part of your Maliss engine, you basically don't have to worry about nib.
Yeah.
You can just let them nib you at any point. Because you just keep that in hand and it's just a complete full board afterwards anyway. I am thinking about cutting this though.
Yeah.
Because as you'll see in a minute, I'm playing a high bestial count.
Yeah.
And this conflicts quite badly with the bestials. It turns the bestials off for the rest of the turn. And I actually lost a couple of games due to the conflict because I had to start with this. Yeah. And then the bestials I had in hand I couldn't use for the rest of the turn. So I am thinking about cutting that.
Understandable.
And then I was playing 1 mag, 1 Druis, and 3 Baldrake.
Yep.
I was really pleased with the 5 bestials because they're great extenders. They're because of my matchups being basically Mitsurugi. They were great interruption anytime they tried to resummon any of the rituals from grave. And I need to shout out Carl for the recommendation because I was playing Ghost Bells.
Yeah.
And then he suggested that I replace the bells with the 3 Ball Drake instead because it allows me to not be chain blocked in the pure Mitsu matchup, which was quite useful to be honest. So yeah. And then non-engine, the hand traps, 3 Fuva, 3 Perulia, 3 Droll, 3 Imperm, 3 Impulse, and then the 2 one-offs, one being a consistency piece of Gold Sark and Called by the Grave. No Ash in the main.
Yeah.
I never felt like I missed Ash as far as in when I'm going first or going in my first game.
Yeah.
I would rather take the chance that I see a Molchami or the Droll, especially in my matchups. I'd rather want to see Droll than anything because it shuts down Mitsurugi quite well, especially if you can get it off early. Impulse was really great for me. I managed to impulse quite a few Murakumos and Nibs, which just allowed me to just set up boards that my opponents were just like, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the best like sort of blowout interruption cards for Maliss at the moment. So like the possible like the other decks like Fire King and like other decks that can play the impulses.
Yeah.
It just helps you have that extra bit of protection for the Murakumo Raigeki board wipe.
Yeah, and it was, and it's not even a concern if you hard draw it going first because you can just set it.
Yeah.
Even if you end up opening loads of hand traps, you could just set it and not worry about it because then you don't turn off any of your effects. But yeah, that's the 41. In terms of main deck, like I said, I think the only thing I'm properly considering changing is the AI Meet You. At the moment, I've got a couple of things I'm going to test out for Euros. But if I keep the bestial count as high as it is, I'll probably take out the AI Meet You.
What will you replace it with?
Potentially terraforming.
Yeah.
Because as you saw, I wasn't on terraforming, so and I think terraforming as a consistency piece is probably better off than the AI Meet You.
Yeah.
I mean, they both play into Droll, so it's not like it's but the Attic Nistas play harder into Droll and kind of cut off extension if you do get Drolled.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
So.
Right, so onto the extra deck then. If
Extra
you're ready.
deck. 2 Lingaribo.
Yep.
1 Almirage and 1 Link Spider with my Link ones.
Yep.
I know some people are only playing those 3. I found Almirage to be quite useful. I'd summoned it probably 3 or 4 times just by normal summoning a hand trap. It really did mess with my opponents when I go normal summon Perulia and then link it off into an Almirage. Because they're just like, okay. And I was doing that when like I'd have maybe Underground or Gold Sark, but I wanted to bait the interactions from the backup and the Wizard. Because that way then I basically, as long as if they got an interruption for me to be able to submit from the backup, then that's gone for my underground plays. So and then I was playing Splash Mage, Cyberse Wicked, Dark, IP and SP as my Link 2s. These 3 I used consistently throughout the 2 days. I never summoned IP, and I think I only ever summoned SP once. SP was useful to still have in there in case I needed to use it for extension or as just a basic interruption. IP, I never felt like the situation for it came up, so may be taking that out and replacing it with something else. I'm not quite sure what though, whether it's another Link 2 or not. I'm considering going back to playing Lizardos. just because with the higher bestial count, I was sometimes finding that getting to Splash Mage was a little bit more difficult because not having the 2 side bursts, whereas at least with Lizard Dose I can potentially still extend.
Yeah, there's like a lot of talk with the Link 2s for Malice, like a double Splash Mage, like having 2 Splash Mage now, or the Lizard Dose.
Yeah.
So everyone's, like in the Malice community, well, not everybody, but certain people are toying with the idea of a second Splash Mage in case things go funny, or the Lizard Dose.
And I understand that, and if I was playing a smaller bestial count, I probably would agree.
Yeah.
But because I'm playing 5 bestials, having only Link 2s that are able to be summoned by using 2 Cybursts, so Splash Mage and Wicked, does make sometimes interrupted hands a little bit more awkward to play around.
Yeah.
The Link 3s of Red Ransom, White Binder, and Heart's Cryptor.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you play one of each. There's nothing that's become a much more consistent play card, especially under Lancia, because as long as you can get to it, you can just set in the mirror and just leave it at that, because you literally can just go mirror banish this to negate the card and set MTP. And then you just banish the White Rabbit, and you still get your banish off of that. It's
like since with the new support come out, everyone used to praise White Binder, but now it's Red Ransom's turn to shine because of the new support cards now.
Yeah, Heart's Cryptor I didn't summon very often. I think I only ever actually summoned it once. But having the ability to be able to go into it and recycle some of your materials is still useful to have in there, especially if you can get to an OTK line with it. So my Link 4s are Bomber Dragon and Access Code. Bomber Dragon I think I summoned twice.
Okay.
And one of those times I got it super polyed away.
Oof.
I'd set it up against the Nimlaria Regenesis player, just so that I could then board wipe his Nimlaria cards when he summoned, and he super polyed the pair of them away into Mud Dragon.
Nice.
Garura I think it was, or Mud Dragon.
I think it might be Garura. Or the Mud Dragon.
They're
both super poly targets.
One or the other. I can't remember which one it was. Access Code I used quite a bit, to be honest. I went into this much more than I went into Heart's Cryptor, especially for OTKing. Because usually there was something left on the board that you just didn't want to play into with the Heart's Cryptor. But it's still quite nice to be able to get into Access Code when you've still got a banish effect off of one of your Malice monsters. So, and then the Link 5, I did play the Allied Code. This I went into any time that I was able to get to it. Basically, this was the end piece that I went for. And any time I did summon it, I didn't lose.
Because everyone's either going for the Wicked Bomber line or it's the Allied Code line now, and I think
I actually summoned this 4 or 5 times under a Wicked.
Oh, okay, that's different.
So I was able to get it set up so that I had like White Binder there, Red Ransom there, and Wicked above. Which worked quite nicely because one of my opponents then went Lightning Storm on monsters, and obviously if I didn't have the Wicked and I went for the normal line, I'd have to use the Allied Code negate, but because I'd set it up that way, I didn't use the negate and I literally just lost the Red Ransom, which was fine because I still had GWC set. So
it's an interesting line. I don't think a lot of players have even thought about that, to be honest.
And it made it very difficult because the thing is as well, when I realised I started playing a lot of Mitsurugi matchups, I realised that even with the Allied Code, I wanted to be setting it up under a Wicked. Because if you summon it right, it's at 3/3, so it's big enough to deal with the Murakumo. And then the Murakumo can't clear it.
Oh yeah, because of the onboard Raigeki effect, wrist kick protects. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is mainly because of the matchups I had. That's the reason I went for that line.
Yeah.
I didn't see a single Malice player.
You're lucky then.
As far as across from the table from me. I did see Malice players around me, but I never sat across from one. So
let's get into the
I'll get that bit out of the way. These three out of Atlantia, obviously you need to play them, because if you play a Malice player, you need to have that against you. Obviously, I never sided it in once.
Okay.
Well, I never saw a Malice player, I never needed to. Played 3 Ash Blossoms in the side, because I would rather side Ash in instead of one of the Molchamis if I was going first, because it's still a very good card, but I would rather see this knowing I'm going first than the chance that I'm going second, because it won't do enough. I played the 3 Mistaken Arrest. It's absolutely
blowout card.
Anytime I saw that, I didn't lose. It's very good whether you can set up a board or not, because if you're going against any sort of Mitsurugi Raizio player, you are definitely not losing. I shotgunned it in my turn quite a few times, and then later on, when I started realising I'm playing a lot more Mitsurugi, I was leaving it into the draw phase or the main phase of my opponent's turn, because it's quite funny when you activate it in response to them going Habakiri in hand, because then they've used the Habakiri effect, they've dumped a monster that they cannot then add off of. So it just burns for a little bit of their interruption in their engine, and they just can't do anything. I played 2 thrust, and then these 4 targets 4 thrusts: Duster, Tactics, Talents, D-Barra and Simmel. Because of the matchups, I never really needed Duster. There was no real matchups that felt like Duster would have made a difference. Maybe one matchup I had where I knew my opponent had would set up Cross and Purification. But then if I open Duster anyway, the Purification is going to negate it and deal with it. But I never saw these 2 in any of my games that I sided them in. Thrust, I sided in maybe once or twice. I mainly just sided in the one-offs for the matchup specific, rather than actually adding the thrust, because the issue I was finding was they're not activating their monster effects until you're actually playing into the board, and if you can't play into the board properly anyway, they're playing around it with their other cards. Similar Archfiends was a very good card for me. It won me one of my games, because I activated it near the start of the turn, as soon as they went into Star Leash to try and dodge targeted effects on their Raizio monsters. They tried to play around it with their Raizio engine, and then as soon as they went into the Mitsurugi stuff, they went down the basic combo of Habakiri in hand, and as soon as they went into Habakiri, they realised that they'd locked themselves out of getting into Murakuma. So I'll be honest, I was very happy with the list. There's a few tweaks I would do. Whether or not the tweaks would still be there if I had played some Malice players. Because the issue was never seeing the Lancia. Obviously, basically, I played the entire tournament with 12 card side deck, which sometimes felt like I could have had something else in there, but then I guarantee you, if I'd have took them out thinking I'm never going to see a Malice player, I'd have missed this every game. Because when it was dropped against me, I think I lost all bar one game in which I got Lancia'd.
That's fair enough. Well, thank you for your time after the busy weekend of nationals that you've had to deal with for demonstrating your deck for us. Showing us your deck profile, I should say. Is there any shout outs you want to mention before we end this video, Craig?
Shout out to Harvey and Alex for the drive down there and the drive back. It was an enjoyable experience. And then obviously to Connor and Caden, who stayed with us at the Airbnb there. It was a really enjoyable weekend. It was, although it was rather stressful being first Nats and getting to the end of day one, realising that I could at least get somewhere. But it was definitely an enjoyable experience. Like I said earlier, I'd like to shout out Carl Ross Walker, because he was someone I went to for some advice on the deck building before Nats, and I think I did most of the changes he recommended, and I think other than one, the IP recommendation, other than that, everything that he suggested actually helped me massively from where I was at. So
that's good. All right, well, thank you again for your time, Craig, and
That's
hopefully
right.
we'll see you again.
Yes.
Thank you very much.